In case we have never met, I'm Michael Price, and I want to help you succeed in growing your business.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We are shifting gears a little bit today.
Yeah, a big shift.
We usually talk about the theory of things, but today is all about execution. It's about logistics. And, well, frankly, it's about money.
It is.
Hmm.
We're looking at the Veterans Affairs system and specifically at a list of benefits that Ray Rodriguez from the Military Insider Show has flagged.
Right. And these are the ones he's identified as the most frequently forgotten or ignored, or maybe just misunderstood resources for disabled veterans.
And we are not just talking about the monthly disability check. I mean, everyone knows about the check.
That's the baseline.
Exactly. If you have a rating, you get that deposit on the first of the month. That's a given. What Ray Rodriguez is highlighting here is the whole ecosystem around that rating.
The secondary benefits.
The secondary and tertiary benefits that are, legally codified, but operationally, they're almost invisible.
Invisible is absolutely the right word, because when I was going through the source material, my first reaction wasn't, wow, this is great.
Wow.
My reaction was frustration, pure frustration. Why is this information so hard to find? Why does it feel like you need, a law degree and a private investigator just to find out you're eligible for a clothing allowance?
That frustration is exactly the correct response. The VA system is designed as a pull system, not a push system.
Pull system.
It doesn't push the benefits to you. You have to pull them out of the bureaucracy. And Rodriguez really identifies this as the core problem. He breaks it down into 3 specific friction points.
Okay, what are they?
Lack of proactive communication, the hidden nature of benefits, and what he calls the no mentality.
Okay, let's drill into those before we even get to the list, because if you don't understand why you're missing these things, you're not going to change your behavior.
I agree.
So, lack of proactive communication, that sounds like a polite way of saying they just don't tell you.
It's a bit worse than that, actually. It's that they told you once, but they told you at the worst possible time.
Oh, you mean TAPS?
Think back to TAPS, the Transition Assistance Program. You're trying to clear the barracks, you're turning in gear, you're worried about where your kids are going to school, you're trying to figure out if your MOS even translates to the civilian world.
You're drinking from a fire hose.
The total fire hose.
Yeah.
And somewhere in a 4-day PowerPoint marathon, a slide probably flashed up for 30 seconds about the HISA grant.
Right. And 20 years later, the system just says, well, we told you back in 2006.
That's it. That packet you got is supposed to last you 40, maybe 60 years. But things change. Statutes change. Your body changes. A knee rating at 10% in your 20s might be a total knee replacement by the time you're 50. The benefits landscape shifts, but the VA has no mechanism to call you up and say, hey, based on this new medical evidence, you now qualify for this specific dental program.
So there's this huge communication gap. Okay, so then you have the second one, the hidden nature.
This is all about jurisdiction. We tend to think the VA is this one single monolith.
And it's not.
Not. It's not at all. It's the Veterans Health Administration,
Yeah.
the VHA, it's the Veterans Benefits Administration, the VBA, and the National Cemetery Administration. Plus, you have state veterans agencies, county service officers,
Oh, wow.
and federal programs like Social Security that all interact with VA ratings. A lot of the benefits we're going to talk about today aren't on the main VA dashboard. They are buried in Title 38 of the Code of Federal Regulations, or their state-specific statutes that the federal VA has zero control over.
And that last one, the no mentality. This is the one that really, really struck me. It's the conditioning, isn't it?
It is. It's a learned helplessness. If you deal with the VA long enough, you get denied.
Oh, yeah.
You get a rating decision that says not service-connected. You get a clerk who loses your paperwork. Eventually, you, the veteran, just assume the answer is no before you even ask the question.
So you don't even try.
You don't. Ray's point is that this psychological barrier costs veterans thousands and thousands of dollars a year. They self-select out of benefits because they just don't have the energy to fight a battle they think they've already lost.
Well, we're going to try to arm you for that battle today. We've got 10 specific benefits to cover. We're breaking this down into 4 sections: daily costs, the healthcare myths, major life support, and financial perks.
Sounds good.
So let's start with the grind. Section 1, the hidden costs of daily life.
These are the attrition costs, the money that just drips out of your account, slowly but surely.
And the first one is the VA clothing allowance. Now, let's be super clear here. This is not a uniform allowance.
No, not at all.
This isn't money to buy a suit for a job interview. What is the specific legislative intent with this one?
The intent is compensation for property damage. That's the legal framework you have to think in.
property damage. My clothes are property.
Yes. If the VA prescribes you a prosthetic or an orthopedic device or even a medication for a skin condition, and that device or that medication damages your personal clothing, the government is liable for that damage.
Okay, damages feels like a pretty broad term. Are we talking about like a catastrophic tear or just wear and tear?
We are talking about wear and tear that renders the clothing unusable faster than normal. Ray lists specific examples in his material: knee braces, ankle braces, back braces, and prosthetics.
Okay, so give me a real-world example.
Think about a rigid, hinged knee brace. It's got metal struts on the side. You wear that under a pair of jeans.
Right.
Every single time you take a step, that metal is rubbing against the denim. Within maybe 3-4 months, you've got a hole.
And you're buying 4 pairs of jeans a year instead of just one.
Exactly.
Mm.
Or shirts. If you have a rigid back brace or a spinal stimulator, it wears right through the back of your shirts. Even some skin creams, the ones that contain silver, sulfadiazine, or other chemicals, can bleach or stain clothing permanently.
So what's the payout? Because if it's, $20, nobody's going to file the paperwork.
It is significantly more than that. The current rate is approximately $968 per year,
Wow.
and that is a tax-free benefit.
Nearly $1,000. That is a real number. But here's where I get a little skeptical. The VA doesn't just hand out checks. What's the catch? What's the eligibility catch?
The catch is the distinction between what they call static and dynamic devices and the filing deadline. This is where people get tripped up.
Okay.
The deadline is usually August 1st of each year. If you miss it, you miss the payment for that year, no exceptions. And you have to file a specific form.
What's the form?
It's VA Form 108678.
Okay, write that down. Form 108678.
And you have to take that form to the prosthetics department at your local VA. Now, here's the nuance Ray highlights that those people miss.
Okay.
You can qualify for more than one allowance.
Explain that. Is that like per limb, per device?
It's per distinct article of clothing that's affected. So if you have a prosthetic leg that ruins your trousers, you have a rigid back brace that ruins your shirts,
Those are two separate things.
those are two separate articles of clothing being destroyed. You can apply for multiple allowances.
But you have to prove it, I assume.
You do.
Yeah.
You generally need to bring the device in, show them the wear on the clothing, or have the doctor certify that the device is clothing destructive. This is why I mentioned the static versus dynamic issue.
Okay.
A soft neoprene sleeve for your knee probably won't qualify. It doesn't really tear fabric.
Yeah.
But a big titanium hinged brace, that definitely qualifies. You have to demonstrate the friction.
Okay, so if you're wearing hardware, you need to be filing Form 108678 every single summer. Let's move to the second daily cost, travel pay reimbursement.
This is the beneficiary travel program. And most veterans know it exists, but they treat it like a tip jar.
Yeah, like it's optional.
Right. They don't realize it's a statutory reimbursement for their access to care.
And the system for this changed not too long ago, right? It used to be those kiosks in the lobby.
The glitchy kiosks, yes. Now it's the BTSS, the Beneficiary Travel Self-Service System. It's all an online portal now.
Which is probably better in some ways.
In theory, the digital shift is good,
Uh.
but it has created a new barrier for some of our older veterans who aren't as tech-savvy.
Sure. Let's talk about the math, though. What are you actually getting reimbursed for?
You are getting reimbursed for mileage to and from your VA-authorized appointments.
So that includes the main VA medical center.
Yes, and any community care appointments, if the VA sent you there, and this is a big one, all of your C&P exams.
Compensation and pension exams?
Yep. The rate fluctuates, but it's generally around 41.5 cents per mile.
Okay, so let's play that out. Say I live 50 miles from my VA. That's a 100-mile round trip.
Right.
So that's roughly $41.
Correct. Now imagine you have a weekly PTSD therapy session, maybe a monthly physical therapy appointment for your back, and a few specialist visits thrown in. You could easily be doing 500 to 1,000 miles a month.
That adds up. That's hundreds of dollars.
It is.
But there's a deductible, isn't there? The VA always has a deductible.
There is, yes. It's usually $3 one way, so $6 round trip, and it's capped at $18 a month.
Okay, so they skim a little off the top.
They do, mainly to prevent people from claiming travel for a trip just down the block. But once you hit that $18 cap for the month, the rest is full reimbursement.
And what about the 30-day rule? Ray touched on this, that you can't just save these up for a year and file them all at once.
This is a crucial point. You have 30 calendar days from the date of the appointment to file the claim in BTSS.
30 days.
If you wait 31 days, the claim is denied. 0 exceptions. This is why the admin burden is so high on the veteran. You have to treat your medical care like a business expense report.
That is a massive friction point. If you're sick or you're dealing with a mental health crisis, the very last thing you remember to do is log into some clunky government website to claim your 40 bucks.
Which is exactly why millions and millions of dollars go unclaimed every single year. The system, in a way, relies on you forgetting.
All right, let's move into section 2, and this is a big one. Busting the 100% disability myth.
Oh, yeah.
I hear this constantly. I can't go to the dentist, I'm only 80%. I can't get my eyes checked, I'm only 40%.
It is the single most pervasive myth in the entire community. This idea that 100% permanent and total, or P&T, is the only gatekeeper for premium healthcare.
And it's false.
It's completely false. Let's start with dental, because that is probably the most expensive out-of-pocket cost in the private sector.
Oh, dental is brutal. A root canal and a crown can run you $3,000. Easy. So if I'm not 100%, how do I get into the VA dental chair?
You have to look at the classes of eligibility. The VA divides dental care into different classes. Class I is the gold standard. That's for a service-connected dental disability.
Meaning you got your teeth knocked out by the butt of a rifle in training or something like that.
Something direct, yes. If that happened, you are covered for life.
Okay, but that's pretty rare. Most people just have cavities.
Right, so you have to look at the other classes. Look at Class 4. This is for veterans whose service-connected disabilities have no dental rating at all, but are medically complicating a dental condition.
Interesting.
Or, and this is the big one Ray points out, Chapter 31, vocational rehabilitation.
VR&E, the jobs program.
Yes. If you are in the VR&E program, you are entitled to comprehensive dental care if the dental issue is preventing you from obtaining or maintaining employment.
That sounds a little subjective.
It is, but it's very widely applied. If you are missing your front teeth or you have severe pain that prevents you from focusing, you can't work.
That makes sense.
The VR&E counselor can refer you to dental. That is a backdoor that bypasses the 100% requirement entirely.
What about the one-time rule for guys who are just getting out of the service?
That's Class V. If you apply within 180 days of your discharge and your DD-214 doesn't show that you got a comprehensive dental exam right at separation,
Which most don't.
the VA will give you one course of treatment to fix whatever's wrong.
One course of treatment. So they'll fix everything once, and then you're on your own.
Basically, yes. But if you need 4 fillings and a bridge, getting that done for free is a massive exit bonus. The key is that 180-day clock. It's ticking.
Got it. Okay, let's talk about hearing aids. Benefit number 4. This one shocks me because the private market for hearing aids is, well, it's a racket.
It is essentially a racket. A high-end pair of Oticon or Phonak hearing aids can cost $5,000, $6,000, even $7,000 out of pocket.
And insurance almost never covers them. Medicare doesn't.
No, but the VA does. And here's the kicker. Even if you don't have a specific rating for hearing loss.
No, wait, explain that. I thought everything had to be service-connected to get treatment.
This is a really important distinction. For compensation, the monthly check, yes, it has to be service-connected. But for treatment like a device, it just needs to be medically necessary for a veteran who is enrolled in VA healthcare.
So, if I'm in the system because I have a bad knee that's service-connected, but I also happen to be deaf as opposed from, I don't know, listening to loud music my whole life,
they will give you hearing aids because it improves your overall health and your ability to communicate with your doctors. You just need to be enrolled and see the audiologist.
And Ray mentioned the batteries, too.
Oh, yeah. The Denver Logistics Center. Once you're in the hearing aid program, you can order batteries, wax guards, all the little replacement tubes, either online or with a card they give you.
And they just ship them to you?
They ship them to your door, and bulk, for free.
That has to be hundreds of dollars a year in batteries alone.
It is. And what if you lose the hearing aids? Or, you know, the dog eats them.
Don't tell me they replace them for free.
They replace them. Usually you get one replacement per device without much of a hassle. Now you try asking a private audiologist to replace a $3,000 device for free because your golden retriever used it as a chew toy.
Not going to happen. Okay, benefit 5, vision care. Are we talking about free LASIK here? What's the deal?
No, let's manage expectations. We aren't usually talking about elective laser surgery. We're talking about optometry and ophthalmology. So glasses, exams, and treatment for eye diseases.
And again, the myth is I need a specific vision rating to qualify.
Which is incorrect. If you are enrolled in VA healthcare, period, you are eligible for routine eye exams and usually one pair of glasses per year if you need them. But the deeper benefit that Ray highlights is the connection to other diseases.
Ah, the secondary connections.
Exactly. Think about diabetes, hypertension, traumatic brain injury, TBI. All of these things can wreak havoc on your eyes,
So if you have a service connection for, say, diabetes type 2,
which is presumptive for Agent Orange exposure, by the way.
right, then the VA is mandated to manage your ocular health because diabetic retinopathy is a direct symptom of the diabetes.
They own it. So even if your vision was a perfect 20/20 when you enlisted, if the diabetes you got from your service is now making you blind, they own that entire problem.
And that would include specialized equipment?
It does. We're going to talk about home modifications in a minute, but the vision program can issue things like magnifiers, talking watches, and computer screen readers for veterans who have severe sight loss.
Which is a perfect segue into Section 3, major life support. This is where the dollar amounts start to get really serious. We're talking about home adaptation and mental health.
These are the benefits that really keep people independent and in their own homes.
Let's start with the alphabet soup of housing grants. There's SAH, SHA, and the one Ray really focused on.
HISA, right, SAH, Specially Adapted Housing, and SHA, Special Home Adaptation. Those are the big guns. These are grants of over $100,000 for veterans with specific catastrophic injuries. Loss of limbs, blindness, severe burns. The eligibility for those is very, very tight.
But HISA is different.
HISA is very different. It stands for Home Improvement and Structural Alteration, and it is available to a much, much wider pool of veterans.
Okay, what's the dollar cap on HISA?
It's currently $6,800 for service-connected conditions and $2,000 for non-service-connected conditions.
$6,800. Okay, in the world of construction, that's not a whole new house, but it's a decent project. What can you actually do with that money?
You can widen doorways to make them wheelchair accessible. That's maybe $800. You can install a concrete ramp up to your front door. That's about $2,500.
What about bathrooms? That's always a big one.
Huge one. You can convert a bathtub into a roll-in shower, which can cost $4,000 to $5,000. You can install grab bars, accessible sinks. It's all about making the home safe and accessible.
So it's very targeted renovation. How hard is the paperwork? Because construction plus government bureaucracy, that just sounds like a complete nightmare.
It is not a walk in the park. You need a prescription from a VA doctor that states the modification is medically necessary. Then you need to find a contractor. And this is the big hurdle.
The contractor.
The contractor have to be willing to deal with the VA's payment system. They need a UEI number. They need to submit a formal bid. It's a process.
And the veteran can't just pay the contractor and then get reimbursed by the VA.
No, absolutely do not do that. That is the #1 mistake people make.
Really?
The VA pays the contractor directly in almost all cases. If you do the work first and then ask for the money later, the answer is almost always going to be no. You have to get the grant approved before the first hammer swings.
That is a critical detail. Approval first, demolition second.
Correct. But think about the aging in place aspect of this. If you have bad knees from your time in the infantry and you can't lift your leg over a tub wall anymore, that roll-in shower keeps you in your own home instead of an assisted living facility. That $6,800 grant is an absolute lifeline.
Let's talk about the other lifeline, Benefit 7, vet centers.
I cannot stress enough how important this distinction is. A vet center is not a VA medical center.
Right. They're often in like strip malls or office parks. They don't look like hospitals.
Exactly. And Ray said the records are separate. Is that right? This is the safety valve. Vet center records are protected by a higher level of confidentiality than standard medical records are. They are not instantly accessible by the main VA system or by the DoD.
Why does that matter so much?
Think about security clearances. Police officers, pilots, even active duty folks or reservists. There's a huge fear in that community that if you admit to a therapist that you're having nightmares or drinking too much,
You'll lose your job.
you'll lose your clearance or you'll lose your right to carry a gun. Vet centers were designed specifically to bypass that stigma.
So you can go there, get treatment for PTSD, and it basically stays in that building.
For the most part, yes, unless there is an imminent threat of harm to yourself or others. And the eligibility is broader too. You don't need a disability rating.
So who can go?
Generally, you just need to have served in a combat theater or experienced military sexual trauma, MSTR, provided direct emergency support, like mortuary affairs or drone crews.
Drone crews.
Yes. They recognized a few years ago that drone operators sitting in a container in Nevada were seeing horrific combat trauma on their screens and were developing PTSD even if they never physically deployed. They are eligible for vet center counseling.
Wow. And what about the family aspect of it?
This is unique. The vet center will treat the spouse and the children if their issues are related to the veteran's readjustment to civilian life.
So marriage counseling.
Marriage counseling, bereavement counseling, family therapy to help the kids understand why dad or mom is angry all the time. It's comprehensive.
And the cost for all this?
Zero. No copays, no insurance billing, nothing.
That is a resource that saves marriages, not just lives. Okay, let's head into the final stretch here. Section 4, financial and lifestyle perks.
Right. These are the things that either put money back in your pocket or just improve your overall standard of living.
Benefit 8, free tax preparation. Now, I use TurboTax. It costs me, I don't know, maybe $80 a year. Why should I care about the VA's tax help?
You should care because civilian software doesn't understand the Combat Zone Tax Exclusion, or CZTE. It doesn't understand the retroactive disability lump sum rule.
Okay, explain the lump sum rule. I've never heard of that.
Okay, here's the scenario. You retire from the military, you start paying tax on your military pension. 3 years later, the VA finally awards you a 50% disability rating, and they make it retroactive to your retirement date.
So you get a big back paycheck.
Right. But it also means that a portion of that pension you paid taxes on for 3 years should have been tax-free disability compensation. You can amend your tax returns to get that money back from the IRS.
And that could be thousands of dollars in refunds.
Easily. But a standard H&R Block employee at the mall might have no idea how to file an amended return based on a VA award letter. The VITA program, that's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, their partners operate on bases and in some VA facilities, and they are trained specifically on these military and veteran nuances.
So don't leave your refund with the IRS.
Got it.
Okay, benefit 9, commissary and exchange access. This changed in 2020, didn't it?
Yes, it did. The Purple Heart and Disabled Veterans Equal Access Act of 2018, which was fully implemented in 2020. Before this, you had to be a retiree 20 years of service or 100% disabled to shop on base.
And now?
Now, any veteran with any service-connected disability rating from 0% all the way up to 100% can access the commissary for groceries, the exchange for retail, and MWR services.
MWR being gyms, golf courses, lodging.
All of it.
What do I need to get on base? Just my DD-214?
No, do not bring your DD-214 to the gate guard. You need the VHIC, the Veteran Health Identification Card. And this is critical. It must display the words service connected right under your photo.
And if it doesn't say service connected?
Then you need to go to the enrollment office at the VA and get a new card printed. That specific phrase is the key that opens the gate.
Is it worth it, though? I mean, Walmart is pretty cheap.
The commissary is sold at cost plus a 5% surcharge. On things like meat, dairy, and produce, you are often saving 20–30% compared to the local grocery store. And there is no sales tax at the exchange. So if you're buying a new TV or a laptop, saving that 8–10% in sales tax is significant.
Plus, you know, the nostalgia of the Class 6.
Well, there is that too.
Okay, bring us home. Benefit 10. Ray calls this one the forgotten frontier, state benefits.
This is where I want to spend some real time because the disparity between states is just shocking. We think of veterans' benefits as a federal thing.
Right, from Washington, D.C.
But where you choose to live, where you plant your flag after you retire, determines your financial reality.
So give us some of the postcode lottery examples.
Let's talk property tax. This is the biggest bill most people pay every year, aside from their mortgage. In a state like Florida, if you are 100% permanent and total, you are fully exempt. You pay zero property tax.
So on a $400,000 house, that's what, $6,000, maybe $8,000 a year in savings?
Correct. In Texas, it's the same thing. 100% gets you full exemption. But Texas goes even further with something called the Hazelwood Act.
What's the Hazelwood Act?
Texas provides 150 credit hours of tuition exemption at any state public university for the veteran. But if the veteran doesn't use it, they can pass that benefit to their child.
Wait, that's a full 4-year degree for free.
Worth easily $40,000, $50,000, maybe $60,000. Now you contrast that with a state that might only offer a small $2,500 deduction on your assessed property value and has no tuition help at all.
The financial difference is staggering.
Over 20 years, the difference between retiring in Texas versus a less generous state could be over $250,000.
So you have to shop for your retirement state like you shop for a mortgage rate.
Precisely. And it's not just the big ticket items. Look at a state like Illinois. They have a program for veterans with certain disabilities to get free camping and hunting licenses for life.
That's a nice perk.
In California, the college fee waiver for dependents of disabled vets is incredibly generous. It practically wipes out tuition at the UCs and the CSUs.
But the federal VA isn't going to tell you about the Texas Hazelwood Act.
No, they have no jurisdiction. You have to find your state's Department of Veterans Affairs website.
Or your county service officer.
Yes, the county service officer, or CSO, is often the best-kept secret in the entire system. They know the local landscape. They know exactly which property tax form to file with the county assessor's office.
So we have covered a massive amount of ground here, from the, $900 clothing allowance to a $60,000 college tuition benefit. When you zoom out, what is the strategy? Because this feels like it could be a full-time job.
The strategy is to audit your life.
Yeah.
Don't look at this list of 10 benefits and ask, do I qualify? That's the wrong way to look at it.
So you invert the problem.
You invert the problem, look at your own life and ask, where am I bleeding money?
Okay.
Are you bleeding money on gas, driving to the VA? Check your travel pay. Are you bleeding money on dental bills? Check your VR&E or Class 4 eligibility. Are you bleeding money on property taxes? Check your state's laws.
So the benefit is the solution to a specific financial leak.
Exactly. Your service-connected status is like a skeleton key. It opens hundreds of different doors, but all the doors are unmarked. You have to physically try the key in the lock to see what it opens.
Ray's message was really clear. Don't leave what you earn on the table. But I want to reframe that a little. It's not about being greedy.
No.
It's about sustainability.
It's about stewardship. The country made a contract with you. You held up your end of the bargain. These benefits are the government holding up its end. And if you don't claim them, the system assumes the need doesn't exist.
That's a powerful point. If veterans stop asking for HISA grants, Congress will eventually cut the funding for HISA grants because, nobody uses it.
Exactly. Using the benefit protects the benefit for the next veteran in line behind you.
So here's the challenge for you, the listener. We threw a lot of acronyms at you today. HISA, VITA, VR&E, BTSS. Do not try to do all of this on Monday morning.
You'll burn out. Pick one target. Just one.
Maybe it's finding that Form 10-8678 for your knee brace. Maybe it's just Googling your state veteran benefits.
Execute on one thing. Get one small win. Then you can move to the next one.
And keep listening. We're going to keep digging up these maps for you. Ray Rodriguez and the Military Insider Show provided the raw intel today, but it's up to you to walk the path.
Stay in the fight.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you on the next one.
A special thank you to MarketUS.com for furnishing us this information. You can reach them at MarketUS.com or call them at 954-636-3232. Before we go, this deep dive was created by the MarketUS.com team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's right below the subscribe link.
If you found this video helpful, please consider donating to helpallvets.org. Thank you.